Onewheel GT review coming up. Gnarly, dude! What's up, everybody? This is Brian from HappyFunnyGaming. If you're into geeky stuff like me, like this Onewheel GT, arcade one-ups, retro gaming, or gaming in general, please like and subscribe below. Now on to this review. All right. I got the Onewheel GT here. I took my time to put out this review because I wanted to learn it, get more experience at it. This is my first time riding a Onewheel before this Onewheel GT. I only had like about 30 minutes of experience on a pint. So I really wanted to get my honest opinion and let you know if it's worth your money or worth getting if you're thinking on the fence about getting it. I come from longboarding, electric skateboarding, and I wanted to see if it was better than that or satisfy something different or a little bit of a different experience because I've been doing it for so long that just to heighten up the stoke, what people tell me, and especially what Californians telling me, being I'm from sunny California. I was on the fence whether I should get this or not because it did make a big order, a big purchase on an electric skateboard. But when this was announced, I always wanted to try one, so why not? I ended up pre-ordering it in November, and after a couple months, I got it. Being part of Northern California and only being a couple hours away from San Jose, California, once it shipped, I got this the next day. And that was my advantage of being part of sunny Northern California. I am part of the newer shipments where it had the latest update. What comes in the box is the basics, just the Onewheel instruction booklet and the charger, and that's it. Onewheel has been the pioneer of this kind of sport, probably made in Santa Cruz, California. I am from California, and the reason why I wanted to purchase this is also to support a company, a local company, by the way, NorCal. Actually, they're the pioneers of this, probably the first one to make this, and only the company to trust in this Onewheel. I know there are other knockoffs out there, but I wouldn't trust them. Probably made in the USA. Yeehaw! Let's talk about the price on this. This board is pretty pricey. You're gonna be spending over 2 Gs. The GT right now costs $2,200, probably $2,250 if you want the treaded tire. I got the treaded tire right now. But you're gonna spend over 2 Gs on this board, so it's a hefty investment, so you better be stoked. If you never rode a Onewheel before, especially if you never did any board sports before, electrics, skateboarding, or anything in general, I have experience in board sports, have great balance, and even me took time to learn this, or I did take the time to learn this. I learned the basics from getting off first, from going slow, getting a good foundation, not changing anything in this board at all at first, and try to get my miles in. I didn't change the PSI or anything about the tire or anything about this board until I got after 100 miles. Right now, as of today, I have over 200 miles on this board right now of experience. Make sure for the learning curve, you take the time to learn how to get off this board. I'll tell you right now, it is weird for me to get off this board. I'm starting to be a little bit more second nature. I do have a habit from skateboarding to get off my board with my back foot. Here, you can't do that, or you shouldn't do that, and that's because the sensors are in front to engage the board. It has 2 sensors here that'll engage the board, and when you lean on it, it'll make the board go forward. If you leave your foot on there and take off your back foot, the board will jet forward and you could get injured. Practice slowly, practice getting off. Keep getting off, okay? Keep getting off the right way. This board is geared to go 20 miles per hour on paper. However, you could go above that. The highest I went on this board is 22 miles per hour, but I don't wanna go any more higher, I don't think, because I don't want to push it. Depending on how much battery life you have, you're messing with the board's limits. The board also has a lot of torque to go up hills. I don't know what the percent grade is. It's probably not as high as my electric skateboards right now, but it has torque to go up hills. It has torque to cover roads. You could engage this board with an app also as well. The app is very intuitive. It tells you different riding styles, and there's going to be a custom mode soon. They're always updating this app, and it's fun to look at, fun to see how fast you're going. Unlike electric skateboard where you actually could check on the remote on how fast you're going, you have an app. right here. And usually when I have the app on, I'm not looking at it, I'm actually just riding it. So really, I don't really know how really fast I'm going most of the time. I have a gauge kind of, but that's it. So the learning on this board took me a good couple days. I would say probably like around 4 days of practicing every day on this board, or trying to practice as much as I can on this board. I went through the lowest setting first, where I'm only getting going like about 8 miles per hour to 12 miles per hour to 20 miles per hour, going one step at a time. And it was progressive because I did want a solid foundation. Again, I went through the highest PSI, or the board came with the PSI, to get used to all the wobbling and everything, and get used to the board, going used to bumps, cracks as much as possible, trying to get comfortable with this board. First, you're gonna be all squiggly, squirrely. The board's gonna be wiggling at you because you didn't get that muscle there. It'll come naturally, and after you start tackling more tougher terrain, again, you have to start all over and practice and practice and practice. Skills started getting better. I started getting more and more happier and stoked. I always wanted to come better at this board and start doing some tricks. I'm starting to do curb drops. Curb nudges are still hard for me, but I'm still trying to practice that as well. Let's talk about the great things about this board, or what this board has to offer. The very first thing that I love about this board is the customization. It comes off as gray off the bat, but then you could customize it, change the color to your liking. I'm in a forum, in a group on Facebook, and I love seeing everyone's colors for the board that suits their personality. Like me, I love red and black, and I always did when as a kid. My school colors, like almost every school, was red and black. Wherever I came to, I wanted my board to be red and black. It fits to my liking, my style, and when it fits to your style, you want to ride it. You could customize the look of the rail guards, you could customize the bumpers, you could customize the top here. This is carbon fiber right here, yeah, and you could customize other things with the aftermarket community. Another great thing about this board, which could be a great thing, could be a bad thing depending on who you talk to, is it's an attention getter. All the time, almost every day actually, when I ride this in public, I always get a question about it. Everyone questions me about this board. Everyone looks at it. There's a huge smile on their face because they want to ride it too. I'm there to answer questions. I do like the attention sometimes, and it is an attention getter. This thing is not really mainstream yet. Even in Northern California, some people never seen it before, and you have a lot of questions. So if you're open to that attention, that's a good thing. The one thing that Onewheel does great against all other electric skateboards is, once you get the skill down, it could tackle a lot of terrain. It could tackle grass, it could tackle off-road, it could tackle the concrete. It could tackle anything as long as you have the skill to ride it and you practice it. This board is an all-terrain board. This board could tackle a lot of things. If you're gonna pick one board to tackle any terrain, I would pick this. They don't call using this for dirt surfing for nothing, because that's what it does. Another great thing about this board that's different from my other e-skateboards is that it's very nimble. It could turn on a dime. It could move in different directions. It's very skinny, so you could go through regular dirt bike or bike paths. This is one reason why my review of the Onewheel GT came out later. I didn't review this right when I got it, because I wanted to be good or decent enough in the trails that I could see the experience on these technical trails that I have near my house. If you see on the trails right now, you're gonna see ahead that I rode this on my Evolve Hadian, but my Evolve Hadian cannot handle this terrain comfortably or making it fun. But when I do the Onewheel on this and I got comfortable with the wobbles, this terrain is very technical. It's very up and down. It has everything is rocky, uneven, and this Onewheel tackles it. As you can see, this Onewheel tackles anything I put in it, as long as I got comfortable and I got the practice in it. I like the torque in this board because if you look on screen right now, I'm not going too fast, but the torque is great enough that it'll handle these bumps at slow speed. It'll handle these slopes at slow speed. This is great if you're first starting out like me. It's very nimble that you could use it like a skateboard. If you're not a tic-tac, you could do a little tic-tac here, except it's actually just moving the board left and right. What I learned about this board is you're not in it for the speed really. This board only goes up to 20. I've seen it go 30, but it's pushing it. I have other e-skateboards for that to get that speed going. But for this one, you're not in it really for the speed, you're in it for the journey. What I view about this board is that since it could tackle any terrain or anything that you bring at it, you could pick different ways to get to the same place differently. Like, for example, if I want to just go on the street, I could just go on this board, but I could hop on the sidewalk, I could hop on the grass, I could take that dirt trail to go to my destination. It's how you get there in this board, not just speed. Did I tell you that another great thing about this board is made in USA, California? Me being at the heart of California, if something goes wrong with this board, I get it fast, I get it the next day. That's an advantage for me. It could be an advantage for you too. Another thing about this board is the build quality. It's actually built like a tank. My board, right now, it looks clean because I cleaned it to be camera ready. When I hit the trails, it gets dirty, it gets dirt on it, it gets scratches. This fender is all scratched up. The side rails are all scratched up, which is all good. It could take a beating, take punishment. My board skidded, my board rolled a lot, but it still worked great. And also another thing is that since it could take a beating, all these parts here are replaceable. All these parts are replaceable down to the padding up front, so that your board could be looking good as new if you really beat it down. I would say that if your one wheel's clean, it's either you just recently changed it or you're not using it to the full potential. I've seen all these one wheels, all these videos of people on their one wheels, they're all beat up, they're all scratched up, but they're all used and having fun, and that's what it's all about. Another great thing about this board, about this one wheel, is that you could do tricks with it. I can't do tricks with my expensive like Haitian bamboo a lot with it because one, it's heavy, it's long board, and two, it's too delicate for me. Right here, I could do curb drops. I want to do slides on this board eventually. I want to do jumps on this board because since it's built like a tank, you could do tricks like a traditional skateboard or kinda like a simulated skateboard. You would want to do tricks about it, and that's what makes it fun. One huge advantage of the one wheel compared to other e-skateboards is there's no controller. The only controller is you. So it's very intuitive. You lean forward and it goes forward. You lean back and it slows. There's two sensors in the front that sense your feet, and that's it. That's the great thing about this board, that there's no controller. You don't have to worry about charging an extra controller. All you have to do is worry about charging this board. I talked about all the great things about this board, and I could tell you that this board is great, but it does have its shortcomings. There is bad things about this board that I want to talk to you about. The learning curve, I believe, in this board is a little bit high, and the reason why is because it is only in one wheel. The learning curve to keep your balance on different terrain, even after 200 miles where I'm comfortable riding it, there are some moments in my ride where my heart stops because the board will shift kind of funny. I don't fall off, but I have that feeling that I might fall off. Again, you'll get more and more comfortable when you put the miles in, but just know that take your time on this board. Once you start building up the confidence, I would say it's like the I don't give a care about the squiggliness moment. That's for me. Like when I don't give a care about the board squiggling or wobbling or anything else like that, that's when you start having fun with the board. I know the wobbles for skateboarding means danger. You gotta kind of train your brain that the wobbles here is okay. It's not a danger moment. It's just the way it is because of the one wheel. The big one, I gotta mention it, is prone to injury on this board when you're first starting out, especially when you're first starting out, but even if you're experienced. I've been seeing all the accidents on YouTube. I've been seeing the new accidents on YouTube. I've been seeing the accidents on the forums about people getting accidents, experienced and inexperienced alike. I've seen the broken collarbones. That's a common injury. The functioning on this board is that if you push it to the limits, it'll start doing pushback. Now, it's up to you if you want to go forward feeling that pushback or not and trying to get those miles, those extra, that extra speed going, because sometimes the board will actually just do a nosedive on you just as a safety measure because you push the board to the limits, and that's where people get injured. It nose dove on me too, twice. You want to see if you could run it out or not? I don't know, man. If you're going fast and it nosedive, I don't think you could run it out. It's so sudden, so surprising. There's no wheels or anything on here, it just drags and that you just catapult off. Look at those videos, those are entertaining. Hopefully you have gear on or gear that you don't get too injured. I got in and get injured or even severely injured, or even bled on this board, and I hope that it doesn't happen because I am fully geared. This board can literally F you up. So be careful, my friends. Being comfortable on this board, now I do have a Evolve Haitian Bamboo, and that board is one of my most comfortable boards I ever rode on before. This board, however, I think it's in between a very stiff board and my Evolve Haitian Bamboo. So it's in between that little section, maybe a little bit more comfortable, but just know that the only shock that you'll absorb is from the wheel. So you're either gonna lower the PSI to not have that shock too much, or keep it as is. That's the only thing that's absorbing the shock. And it's ideal in some terrains, but some terrains you'll feel uncomfortable. This foot pad right here, the stock foot pad, when I'm talking about the stock foot pad, the grip tape is very good, it's very grippy, but it's hard. You're on a hard platform with just a big, thick wheel. That hard platform though, there's no give to it, so it could be a little bit more uncomfortable, or it could take time for you to get used to. I know for me, my feet get really tired when I ride this board. It starts getting better and better as I put the miles in, but when I first started out, man, 20 minutes, my feet were toast. Now it's starting to be like 45 minutes, even more so, and I'm feeling comfortable at it. It'll get better and better, but it will never be as comfortable as my Evolve Haitian Bamboo. Also, another complaint is since the foot pad is so hard, when you have bigger feet, it'll start being more and more uncomfortable. For me, I'm 5'7", my feet's a little bit smaller. It doesn't take over the edge of the board, so I'm okay, I'm comfortable. There's a lot of people reporting that the edges are very uncomfortable, that it feels really uncomfortable, especially on jumps and everything on this board, that it'll start affecting your feet a lot. I just want to let you know, with those guys with those Shaquille O'Neal feet, on the bottom it's always gonna get scratched up. I do have extra float plates here that'll help with the scratches, but eventually you're gonna have to change the bottom. It is plastic on the bottom, and it's a very light plastic that it scratches easily. I mean, I scratched it once and I already had probably a 3mm scratch. I've seen other people's boards on their bottoms, and when they ride it heavily, especially on trails, they start developing holes. The great thing though about this board is it's easily replaceable, no problem. I just want to put it out there that your board's gonna get scratched, it's gonna have scars. Another con when the board stops is you can't stop immediately. If there's someone that just happens to be right in front of you, your only bailout is to jump off the board most likely. When you ride the sports, respect everybody's space, have room to stop. When I first rode this board, while walking my dog went in front of me and I almost killed my dog. One big surprise, and I thought I wouldn't experience this with this board, is that it's heavy. This board is over 30 pounds, like around 35 pounds right now. And it is heavy and you don't want to carry it. It looks small like on camera, but you want to keep riding it. It does come with a handle here and a handle in front, but it's just uncomfortable to carry. Just think about it when you're in the gym. I know you could lift 30 pounds or over 30 pounds and you could curl it, but lifting that 30 pounds and dragging and carrying it from one side of the gym to the other, you don't want to do that all the time. So you want to ride this board. So it's gonna really suck if you lose battery. Also, if you take this board to work like I do, I don't want the tire to get on my clothes, on my suit or anything. So I don't want to touch the tire. So it's always weird for me to carry it around without this tire touching me. Another thing about this board is it's not fast, okay? So for all your speed demons out there, don't buy this board because of the speed, all right? Don't buy this board because of the speed. Buy it to enjoy the ride. You'll still feel the wind in your hair. I know that I was reluctant to get the Pines before because it wouldn't be that fast for me, because I love feeling the wind. 20 miles for me, even 18 to 20 miles is enough for me on this board to get the speed, to feel the wind in my hair. I don't need to go fast on this board, and I believe you shouldn't too. You should just enjoy the ride with this board. If you feel like you really need to go fast on this board, you're gonna get very disappointed.
because it won't reach the speeds that you get with electric longboarding.
The battery on this board lasts sufficient enough for me. A battery probably lasts around, for me, for my estimate, is probably like 25 miles. I usually charge it every 2 days because I ride so much. Depends on your tire pressure and your weight. I do have to mention that since you are a first adopter, there are some instances where the board will be dead on arrival, or the sensor is bad that it ghosts sometimes. I saw some videos and I saw some people's experiences about it. Never happened to me, so I'm not gonna really talk about it. That's just know that sometimes you have to return it, and that's for all products and e-skateboards. I think I had to send back for repairs for every one of my e-skateboards. It's just the nature of the game.
So final thoughts, who should get this board? Should you get this board? I believe that you should get this board. It's for people who are bored of just the regular e-skating, for people who want to tackle different terrain, especially off-road terrain, dirt bike terrain, terrain that you haven't explored yet that you can't even get to with a longboard, even if off-road longboard. Guarantee you will get stoked once you learn how to ride this board, and I'm guarantee you this board is super fun.
I want to know, did you end up buying the Onewheel GT? Are you having fun with it? What do you think about it? Please comment below. This is Brian from HappyFunnyGaming, and I'll see you in the next video.